Commissioners meeting to order. The standard words I have to give is the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority Board of Commissioners normally meets the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. All meetings are conducted at PRH's main office here at 3116 South Street, Portsmouth, unless otherwise noted. And as we just said, this is a special call commissioners meeting Monday, August 2nd, 2021 at 12 o'clock. And all members of the public are welcome to attend. Let's go ahead and do the roll call, and then we'll go from there. Ms. Marshall.
Commissioner Barham. Commissioner Koss.
Here.
Commissioner Jiggets.
Here.
Commissioner Prince. Commissioner Wicks. Vice Chair Roberts. Chair Lalonde.
Here. Thank you very much, and thank you for those members of the staff that are here, and also members of the public that are here that we'll get to in just a few minutes. But there's been a lot of emphasis at our board meetings about the security concerns at all our properties, and with Mr. Bland and myself and the deputy manager, we felt that it was important to get the commissioners together and look at where we're at, to highlight the security concerns and issues that we have within our public housing complexes with the focus on Dale. I want to focus on Dale as much as we can. To confirm actions being taken by the Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority Management. So I'll have Mr. Bland talk with his team about what we're doing, what we can do, and what we're allowed to do ourselves as a housing organization. Those that are here, I know I've reached out to the city manager and to the police department to ask them to confirm their actions and plans that are being done by any appropriate city agency, and also to hear from public speakers. So with that in mind, I'm going to go to you, Ed, and if you could bring us up to speed on what we're doing and what plans we have in place for our housing complex.
And this time I'm going to introduce Mr. Keon Gurley, who's you might say he's a manager for security. Housing, so to kind of talk about what he's been doing with the sheriff department, the police department, and the extra personnel we have brought on board.
Good afternoon. For the last couple weeks, I would say from June up until now, the security department, the housing authority as a whole, has increased presence. Using the police department as well as the sheriff's department, and bringing on our own additional in-house security personnel. By doing that, there's been a significant decrease in crime. There's been sporadic issues. Those issues are mainly domestic violence, and those are things that unfortunately we can't control. The residents have been very receptive of the initiatives and the steps that we're taking. It's to a point now that when residents see the police or they see our security staff, they walk up to them and thank them and wave at them and tell them to keep up the good work. Our in-house security staff, they work practically 7 days a week between the hours of 5 p.m. and 1 a.m., sometimes 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. And sporadically earlier during the day to kind of catch what's ever occurring. But it's been working so far.
Any statistics that is anybody here from the police department or the sheriff's office?
No, sir.
Do we have any statistics at all? Any measurable statistics?
I spoke with the police captain last Friday. There was a 50% decrease in crime, specifically in Dale. They're down from at least 20 calls a month. They're down to about 7 calls a month in Dale alone.
Go talk to me more about the actions that we're taking. I just as the chairman of the board here, a little confused about, we're in the security business. Sounds like we're in the security business now, right? And so what actions are we specifically taking to take on or support or complement what the police and sheriff's office are doing?
The main thing we've done is, like I said, brought in our own additional in-house security personnel. We've increased our patrols. We're engaging with the residents. We're doing investigations alongside the police department. Our officers have made arrests. They've came in contact with guns, drugs, you name it. I would say what we're doing so far is work.
Okay,
Now, also, let me just add on, and normally for non-residents, if they create a problem on a property, we issue no trespass notice to our non-residents. We have a trespass list, so we issue no trespass notice to our non-residents. And what we're doing also is we are making the tenants aware that we issue no trespass notice, and we know what house that person is visiting. We make the tenant aware that we're issuing no trespass notice, and if they choose to continue allow them to come to the home, then we can put that family on notice to vacate. So we're doing that also.
Commissioner Jacobs, Commissioner Cost, any comments?
Yes, Mr. Gurley, I maybe directed to you, Chairman. The latest security crew, they get off at 1 o'clock in the morning, correct?
That's correct.
And what time do they come back on
They come back on at 5 o'clock the following day.
the following day?
Correct.
When I had heard that, I would like to see the gap close a little bit more, where instead of getting off, if we can assign, I don't know if they'll take another additional person so that the next person doesn't get off until 8 a.m. in the morning. Because when crime jumps off, a lot of times it jumps off after 1 a.m. during the dark until we get to sunrise. So I will put that out there, Bruce and Mr. Bland, that personally, I certainly would like to see that gap close. And secondly, in trying to do some additional research to get ready for this meeting today, when we focus on crime, we have to focus on crime control and crime prevention. And I came across this study that was a partnership between cops, a division of the Justice Department, and Target Corporation helped fund it, as well as the Urban Institute. And the cities that they did were Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. And the intent of the grant was state-of-the-art surveillance equipment. Now, I mention that because, in my opinion, of course, I want to hear from the residents, in terms of what we're doing on the property for Dale. I think we've tightened it up and we're doing quite a bit. But when we talk about safety, we have to talk about safety in terms of neighborhoods, in terms of individuals, and in terms of what's going on in the street. And that's where I think the void is that we need to tighten up. And that's why I would like to see us partner with Dominion Power in the city, as well as the cops acronym concerning getting surveillance cameras at the light pole that's right there in the street by Dale Homes.
Can I add something?
Say that again?
We're gonna be putting surveillance cameras, coming to the board at our regular meeting this month.
Uh-huh.
Will be a, board resolution to authorize us to get surveillance cameras go in Dale. And those cameras will be connected to the police station, just like the ones are connected at Swanson. So there's a resolution coming to the board at the regular meeting in August. And once the board approve that, then, starting in September, no later than October, cameras will be put at their homes.
That's good. Now, will they capture gunshots happening on the street?
Well, they will capture as much as possible that they can.
See, that's why I really want to push for one right at that light pole.
Well, let's get into specifics at the next board
okay.
meeting. Okay, is there any other comments? Commissioner Jacobs?
I think you can tell that where I'm going with this is for high-tech surveillance on the street side, because I think it's needed. It's been proven in Baltimore. All those cameras that they have now put in downtown Baltimore have made a difference in seeing crime reduced, because when the gunshots jump off, they jump off from drive-bys in the street. And so I want to see that push. I also want to see a drone acquisition pushed that we can use for our properties in terms to offer crime control and crime prevention. So that's it for me.
Commissioner Cost?
My main thing, she was talking about crime prevention. A lot of different organizations are doing, different things for gun violence. I would like PRH to kind of partner with them to do more in their community, because I don't see that. But that's it.
Ms. Bland, you got any other comments? I just want to ask one last time, is there anybody here from the city manager's office, from the police department, or from the sheriff's office that all can make a comment about what support or what they're doing to help us out with this issue that landed in our lap? So outside of housing, Mr. Kenyon, I appreciate all the efforts that we're doing. Mr. Bland, we're gonna do whatever it takes, I guess. We will do whatever it takes. But I ask again for the city manager's office, the police department, and the city manager's office, sheriff's office, to give us some help with the Portsmouth residents that we have living in our homes. All right, I know myself, I drive through at least once a day. I drive through at least 5-6 times a week. I've been approached. I've reported it all to what we got. So this is not something where I just have just given some lip service. I've walked the walk and I've talked the talk. I know I've talked to Mercy Drops. They're out there providing some food on a regular basis out there. I know we have some other private groups, church groups that are going out there, and I appreciate all the community efforts. But I'm going to ask again, if there's someone comes in from the city manager's office or from the sheriff's office or from the police department to help us with this issue, we'd appreciate all the help we can get. All right. All right. Public speakers are allowed 5 minutes to speak on this issue, and we'll take the ones that are in the room first, and then we'll go to the ones that are on the phone. So please, I don't know. I know a couple people that came in early, so I'll get them first. Ms. Fink, if you could identify yourself and then your comments, please.
So we can pick you up on the night.
Well, I had some questions for the gentleman who.
Yeah, you could just say,
Mr. Gurley.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. I had some.
Well, if
questions.
you don't mind, let's just make the comments. If there's questions, I mean, we'll get back with you on the answers here. Okay. But I want to give everybody a chance to speak.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Okay.
At the last city council meeting, the city council approved an ordinance to accept funding from the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services. I am so sorry. My name is Susan Fink. I'm the executive director of Friends of the Portsmouth Juvenile Court, a position I've held for 10 years. I'm intimately involved with particularly juvenile gun violence. The DCJS grant is a Virginia grant that only municipalities could apply for. Only 6 municipalities in the whole Commonwealth of Virginia were eligible for the grant. I worked with Portsmouth PD to put together a grant that I feel is a good one. It's a good plan. There are good activities in it. Portsmouth PD is going to be responsible for what's called group violence intervention. And it's involving the entire community, bringing together all the players to actually identify key players in the violence milieu, if you will, and basically confront. They do an intervention. Law enforcement is the only one that can do that. I can't do that because of the things that they have to say to that individual. Everybody knows who the individuals are. It's a matter of bringing them in and laying out their future for them.
Okay.
And they make a choice. They go one way, good things will happen in their lives. They go another way, and they'll be arrested for jaywalking. That's the law enforcement side. Friends of the Portsmouth Juvenile Court is picking up some of the things that you've talked about. You know that old saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you? We know that that doesn't work. So our goal was to identify the high crime areas in the city. We identified 3 census tracts. Go talk to the residents about what they see, what they want, what their suggestions are, rather than imposing suggestions from outside. That is part of it. We have outreach workers. They're going to be doing some of that work. We have violence interrupters, and violence interrupters are people who are familiar, if you will, with the lifestyle and can go in and mediate those conflicts and say, okay, I understand that this has happened. I understand that you're upset, but let's step back for a minute so nobody else gets shot and killed. Okay. We're also talking about bringing resources in. A lot of the folks that we work with, and I'll give you an example. We did an outreach project in Swanson Homes when COVID first hit. Every home we went into, are you aware of WIC? Are you aware of this? Are you aware of there? A lot of those folks didn't know about it.
Okay, and I apologize to interrupt you.
Let's.
No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Wait, let me, no, wait a minute, because we said 5 minutes. I just want to know who's doing that, who's keeping track of the 5 minutes?
I am,
You keeping track of it?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm happy to provide anything in writing if you would prefer.
Thanks, thank you.
At any rate, what the plan is that we will use community-based individuals and other organizations to be in the community. We are not from the government and we're here to help you. We are on the ground with you.
Right, okay.
To help
That's
solve
good.
those problems.
Okay.
That is a 2-year grant. The city has already approved it. That money will be coming down shortly. That is $495,000 over 2 years. I don't get a penny of it. I'm not getting rich off this.
Right.
Thank you, Ms. Fink.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Is there an opportunity for me to ask a question?
If you could direct those, Mr. Bland, offline, I
Okay.
appreciate it.
No worries.
Ms. Cat, I think you were the second one here. If you want to come up and identify your, thank you very much. And thank you, Susan. Y'all do great stuff.
Thank you.
I really,
Thank
y'all do
you.
great stuff. Thank you. Ms. Cat, if you could just identify yourself and then you've got 5 minutes now.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Kat Howell and I'm a housing advocate. I really started digging into the issues within housing in Portsmouth when my homeowner told me that they were gonna jump on this hot sellers market and sell the rental that I've lived in for 2 years that hasn't been kept up to code. Housing of access to affordable housing has been a problem for a long time. And I've heard a lot of people say that they weren't aware of how bad it was. But my kind of general question is, how do you, how can you say you don't know when you have a 3-year waiting list? And when you open it up for the few hours that you do, you have thousands of applicants. So, I hear a lot of great things about crime prevention and all this technology and all of that. But before we go spending billions of dollars on drones and surveillance camera, thousands of people are getting ready to be without homes and they have nowhere to go. So if we want to talk about crime prevention, housing is one of the things that is most important right now, because if people aren't housed, like I said at the city council meeting this past week, we're going to be set up for mass casualty and mass shootings, because we see it every day. Over 45 shootings in the month of July alone. And if you have homeless tent camps set up everywhere in these neighborhoods, because homeless people aren't going to be setting up tent camps in the gated communities because they're going to call the police and they'll get kicked out. So crime happens where poverty is and in the areas where people are unhoused. So we have to get money and we have to use the affordable or the American Recovery Plan monies to put people in houses, because everybody wants to say that when this moratorium ends, it's gonna fix everybody's problem. No, it's not. You're just displacing different people. And yes, I understand that if people haven't been paying their rent, it's a business and you have to get paid or whatever, you have to pay for a service. But if they got laid off and they're getting a job, the average paying job is $10 an hour, not to be disrespectful, but I mean, you have employees for PRHA who are on the brink of homelessness because the starting salary is 31. And while that's above the median income for Portsmouth, it's still not enough to afford housing. So you have people working for the city government and working for these housing authorities that are having their lives subsidized by the government, when in reality, if we could get a living wage and work with collective bargaining and get these living wages, then all that public, welfare programs and public housing that city employees are using could go to somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the crime and violence comes from people not feeling like they have hope and people being in a constant state of survival. And at this rate, with the pandemic, we're seeing mental health crises as well, like chronic PTSD. If you don't know where you're going to live at the end of the month or where your meal is coming from, your brain is producing cortisol, and it literally kills part of the gray matter in your brain in the frontal lobe that deals with impulse control and all of this other stuff, and addiction. And, if you're in a constant state of survival, you're going to do whatever you need to do. So my biggest thing is, before we start talking about drones and all of that stuff, let's keep people housed.
Okay, my point of privilege, Chairman.
Was there any other comments that you had? No. Ed,
I have to have a point of privilege, Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me say this to everyone, please keep your mask on. CDC has come out and has been clear in the city halls. If you're in here, please put on your mask, because this is critical.
Right.
And I certainly appreciate everything you've had to say. And to all, and if you don't have a mask, please step away to get your mask, and please put it on.
Thanks, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Bland, if you could get Ms. Katz's phone number and bring her up to speed on those issues, those housing. And thank you for your comment, for those housing initiatives that we do have. I think it's important that you do know how we're working with the city on housing.
Thank you so much.
And to be more specific, we've recently been focused, while it's right or wrong, we've got to focus somewhere where our money's at. We're really focusing on senior housing right now. Done a lot of that. All right. Thank you, Ms. Katz.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am in the back there, you want to come on up? Thank you for finding the time to come visit us. And if you could just give us your name.
Look, Reese.
Yes, ma'am. You've got 5 minutes to speak, ma'am.
So,
Ms. Marshall, if you could keep me honest on the time too, I'd appreciate it.
I just talked at the city council as well at the last meeting. And again, I'll just reiterate, but my house was shot up on July 18th. I stay at Southside Gardens, apartments. And, now I found out that we don't have basically anybody in our rent office. When I contacted them about what happened to my house, they basically didn't give me no help. Again, we have surveillance cameras out there. Somehow the shootings are still going on. People still living in the hallways, people still in front of my house as well. I have 3 young kids. I'm scared to go home now and to be at home. I work, as well. But again, I haven't really got any help or don't know what to do, because again, I went to my rent office and I told them what happened, and they couldn't give me any resources or any information. And I feel like if I'm a resident and I go to you for help, you should be able to help me. I had asked them to put me in a different apartment or place me somewhere else. So now they told me to put my 30-day notice in when I did talk to the residents, because she told me that she couldn't move me. If she moved me, she had to move the whole complex. And I just I feel like, okay, I really don't care about the whole complex. It's about me and my kids. But again, nobody is giving me answers or nobody helping me. And now, like I said, nobody's in the rent office because they left the rent office. So now we as a complex is left without anybody in the rent office, any help or any information. My patio is still shot out and I still have the bullet holes in my house. So when I go home, I have to look at this stuff and keep remembering over and over again. And I don't know if you're familiar with the guy who died on my patio, but his name is Anthony Thomas. So again, me and my kids are living this. They are scared. They are going through PTSD. They have behavioral problems now at school, at daycare. So I just need some answers to know what's going on.
Yes, ma'am. Southside Gardens.
It's not out.
Oh, let me finish here.
No,
Southside Gardens.
but I know, but it was on the form that
Yes, ma'am.
y'all are also letting us know what's going on in the Portsmouth communities as well.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I figured that's where you're going with it. But let me get Mr. Bland to get your specific address.
Mhm.
And we will, since we are housing advocates, while
Right.
we have our our specific units, and why we're here is to talk about our specific units, particularly Dale Homes. Southside Gardens has been very much brought to our attention. I'll get Mr. Bland to get your information, and we will personally advocate for you with the city manager's office and with the police department. I don't want you to think that we're ignoring you because you don't live in our housing. You are part of our family in Portsmouth, and yes, ma'am, we're very, very concerned about Southside Gardens.
Yeah, glad you
Southside
brought
Gardens
that
is having an impact on some of our other properties, so
up. Mhm.
to say that, hey, it's not our business, it is our business. So yes, ma'am, thank you very much, and I appreciate you taking the courage to come here to speak, thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
concur. Thank you for
Okay.
coming.
Sir, in the back corner there? Yes, sir, did you want to speak?
I did, I didn't have my hand up.
That's all right, sir. Well, I'm just going around the block.
Okay, hey, how you doing, sir? Councilman Chris Woodard. Yeah, I just got one question. Yeah, I don't have a whole spiel like everyone else, but, I seen and I applaud you guys for the improvements you have done in Dale's home. You added additional security. And I think that was great for the safety of the people that is there, because everybody understand that, some of the citizens we have there, they really are in fear of their lives and they just trying to make a living.
Mhm.
So I do applaud you guys for that, but I just want to know how long is that additional security gonna be there? Is that just for the summertime or is just a long-term solution? Because if it's working, it's something that we should
We'll
probably
prepare a
keep.
brief for you separately if that's all right, sir. But we just recently put them on 2 weeks ago, and we just don't know where we're going until we're going. As I've asked at the beginning of the meeting, I had solicited the city manager's office to be here. I solicited the sheriff's office to be here, and I
Mhm.
solicited the police to be here. So, with you, I see Vice Mayor Barnes is here. He's one of our liaisons. And Councilman, Battle is one of our liaisons. But if it's all right with you, we'll brief you separately on what we're trying to do to help and fill in the gaps that, we're looking for. But, we just put those two folks, about 2 weeks ago on the payroll. We've added some of the off-duty police officers. We've added, they're getting ready to put in cameras, but we're here trying to get information, Councilman, to see what do we need to do with the void that's been handed to us. So I wish I could give you a specific answer, Councilman. We will brief you separately, or Mr. Blaine will brief you separately.
Okay, well,
Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if I can also weigh in, Chairman
Yes,
Lalonde.
ma'am.
First of all, Councilman Woodard, thank you for being here.
Oh, no problem.
This is the first time I'm meeting you, Commissioner Jiggets, and we certainly appreciate what our city council is doing to help, because first you have to listen and hear and respond. So we greatly appreciate that. And I think for clarity, we have had some security there already. Mr. Gurley, if you want to speak to that again, and then we
No,
added
I'd
more.
rather have that briefing offline here, because I need to hear from all the public speakers, and Councilman Woodard deserves a more detailed briefing. He
Which,
deserves a more detailed briefing.
Yeah, which we want to give him, but I wanted to clarify, so you know that we didn't just bring security on for the summer. We had some security in place at Dale Home. And I think it's important for you to know that even now, without the offline briefing.
But we will brief you fully, sir, and I appreciate you being here. It's fantastic, sir. Thank
No
you.
problem, no problem.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
Councilman Woodard, appreciate it.
Ma'am? Did you want to come up?
No, I didn't want to come up. I just was trying to figure out why the public couldn't find out about the security. Why did he have to be briefed by himself if he's asking if the security will be extended past the summer? I feel like the public should know that as well.
Well, were you here at the beginning when Mr. Gurley spoke?
I wasn't.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Mr. Gurley at the beginning of the meeting spoke in detail of all the plans that we had in line. He spoke about all the folks that we have here too, and just for those folks that were late, I guess I'll have Mr. Bland talk to y'all one-on-one, so you have the complete detail, but I want to give all the speakers that are here that came in that had any specific comments to listen to them, and then if we need to backtrack, we'll backtrack, but sir, you were here?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
My name is Darren Shadoway. I'm a resident of Portsmouth, Virginia. Listening to the meeting, well, I'm a current business owner. I mean, I reached out to PRSA in reference to, but at the time when I did reach out, I want to say a couple months ago, I don't think you guys really have nobody that's like the head, because I was trying to find somebody to talk to in reference to my business. I offer service of valet trash. And I felt like that would be a good service for the elderly you just spoke about, as well as the Parks and Rec homes that are having a severe criminal problems, a lot of crime. So for the parents that do live in Dale's Home, Swanson, any of those neighborhoods that do work and come home after 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, getting the kids right, they want to take the trash out, you can just sit it outside the door. I was offering that service as well for the elderly, but I haven't had anybody to contact in reference to that. I felt like that could help as far as the property, the look of the property, as well as the safety for the single parents and as well as for the elderly. But it's in reference to whom I would speak to for that type of business, who would I be referred to?
Again, all questions revolving in any business is Mr. Ed Blaine's here. He's the executive director for the agency. Okay, and I'm sure he'll contact you. You guys contact yourselves after the meeting's over and provide the information you can. But thank you very much. And I'm sorry, your name, sir?
Darren Sadoway.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Deanna Stanton. I am a resident here in Portsmouth. I'm not new to Dale Homes and to Swanson Homes, and I was a home health nurse, a hospice nurse, and they were my patients, my people, and so I love Portsmouth very much. I would like to say that right now, sitting amongst us, Miss Susan, she is a wealth of knowledge, and I would just reiterate to contact her because she does do a lot of the steps, such as with the ACES program and looking at the roots and the cause of crime. Now, I will say that, whatever you can pull from her, I think that it would be like gold for the housing authority. When I left the council meeting 2 weeks ago, I was approached by a mother whose son was killed 2 years ago. And she said that person who killed her son is still out on the streets, walking the streets right now. And her grandbabies have to cross paths with this person. And he's out awaiting trial. So this is the thing. I understand, we do need the drones, we do need the cameras, but we also need support from the district attorney not to let them back out on the streets because it's going to continually happen. And the last thing she told me when I left that day, that evening was, the word on the street is, you can do anything. Look at me. And you still, and you don't have to, you can still be back out on the streets. You're not going to go to jail. So this is what we're dealing with. And I applaud the cameras and those things, but until we start getting the backing that we will put, especially the violent crimes behind bars, then we can't continue this catch and release. It's going to continually and perpetuate into a snowball. The other thing that I did want to say is I want to thank everybody here because we know we have the crime here in the area. But I would like to just thank everyone, and especially to this young lady that's here for coming today because, she's just one of many people that she represents. So thank y'all for pulling this together and loving Portsmouth enough to bring this together.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, please.
We have a few people in the lobby, so they had to ask a couple of them to step out, so we have, so many people at one time.
Sir, did you want to speak?
Hi, y'all. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Carl Redman. I am one of the many people that's behind Get Back to the Block, which is an organization that started in regards to helping with the de-escalation of violence in the city. A lot of people ask.
We have roughly about 6 people, so I need for 6 to step out, and you'll have to leave, but you can step in the lobby. So we would be, if I want to still do social distance.
Yeah. And again, make sure you keep your mask on.
Sir, if you want to start again, thank you very much. Sir.
Once again, my name is, Darrell Redmond. As I said, I'm for, movement in the city is called Get Back to the Block, which is something that was generated by me. That's a vision I had in regards to giving back to the community.
Mhm.
I got a past life in the city of Portsmouth, born and raised a resident of the city of Portsmouth, but what I address is people talk about how can they reduce crime in the city. And my answer to that is one of the ways to reduce crime in the city is utilize people as myself that were once a liability in the system, in the city, and understand that we are now an asset. There's a problem with merging the gap. You have people up top that want to do things, you have people at the bottom that need it, but if you don't have a liaison in between it, it's never going to make it. The connection is not going to get there. So utilizing people as myself, I can walk anywhere out here and I'm highly respected. It's what's gonna happen. I walk inside these neighborhoods. I got the call when the lady that was back there got shot. When these things happen in the community, it's people that can vouch and tell you they call me. They don't trust the police, they don't trust the sheriff, they don't trust housing. I got people that they call my phone. This is proven evidence of anybody who asks, you ask anybody about me, they call me and say, how can we get this? Or somebody was just shot, or this and that. The lady that just left, she got 6 bullet holes in her house, right now. People died right there. I know. I go out there. I talk to these people, but it's about being able to utilize people and understand that there's some way that you're going to have to bridge that gap. And by bridging the gap is utilizing people like myself. There's a lot of influential people in the city. With me, I have a past that just did 20-some years of incarceration. I've been home 2 years. And I believe I did more in 2 years. If you check my track record in the city of Portsmouth, probably did violence in the last 10. It's evidence. People talk about evidence-based practice. I am evidence-based practice. My whole life I've been a leader. People have been following me. It's evidence-based practice that if people can identify with something and relate to it, there ways to take this course is more likely than others. If people understand my transition, they know my past, but they know what I've done, and now they see me moving in this way, and it's something that people want to do. Because a lot of our kids now, they're sidetracked by technology, which is allowing them to have a vision that's not actually theirs. And instead of having a vision that's actually is theirs. And what I do with the people I deal with, we do vision boards with youth, we do different things with the youth. And it's with, I can sit down with them and they're gonna identify, listen to me and relate to me, which helps in that transition. But what's happening is, like I told city council, I'm not saying programs don't work. I'm not saying treatment don't work. I'm not saying the strategies that people up top have don't work. It's the people that you have facilitating these programs that can identify with the youth, so they're never going to listen. So utilize people as myself, which is a lot of us, that have made the transition, that already relate with the youth and understand that we can be the liaison in between the services that's trying to be provided and the things that's being needed. And that's going to bridge that gap to make things work. A lot of these youth dealing with poverty, like he was saying with the business, is a lot, like I told city council, let's invest more in small businesses. Because the small businesses that aren't being invested in is the ones that's going to give opportunity to these youth. And a lot of the small business owners out here are people like me that was once formerly incarcerated, that already have a connection with the youth, and they're getting financial stability, they're getting training, and they're also being mentored at the same time. So you're utilizing one perspective to kill 3 dynamics that need to be done. So until we get together and understand that, then it's going to continue to be a problem because there's no trust. And you have to build that trust some way. And by utilizing people as myself that already have a trust factor on both sides, it helps to bridge that gap. These kids won't come to meetings like this. When I first went to spoke at city council, they say people shocked because it's not often that you get a guy who's been previously incarcerated come to city council. And a lot of people look at it and say, how is this, or how did he do this, or you one person. But from that one person sparked a movement in the city that, if y'all aware of, when that, rally happened for stopping the violence in the city, it was formulated by me and a few people on my team, because we want to make the city of Portsmouth better.
Thank you very much, sir. And again, Ed, if you could get this gentleman's information,
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you being out in front. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ma'am, in the back there? Do you have a comment? You want to give 5 minutes to speak if you want to speak, ma'am?
Okay, my name is Delavise
Yes,
Charles.
ma'am. I need you to come up here, ma'am, because, this is being taped, ma'am. Thank you very much. And thank you for finding the time to come out here.
Thank you. I can't talk good because I had surgery on my mouth, but my name is Delavise Trotter.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
stay at 1023 County Street.
Yes, ma'am.
I've been staying in housing over 20-some years. I love Westbury, and it's not Westbury. Westbury is not the problem. It's certain people that stay in Westbury is the problem. Now, we had a good community, but now it ain't nowhere like that. We got a person that stays on the property, that works for y'all for housing, and we have a garage on our property just about every week. They're working on the cars, the loud music, the testing of the speakers. No, we got a lot of seniors stay out there, and a lot of people want to come forward, but they're afraid. Because like he said, it's no trust. Who we talk to is getting back to this particular person. And then that's our life online. You know, just like the 4th of July. She sent letters out. No firecrackers, no none of that. We couldn't even sit on our porch. This lady was sitting on her porch. I was sitting on the porch, and my neighbor that just had an aneurysm on the brain, scared to come and sit on the porch. Because he got out there in the middle of the parking lot and he shot them firecrackers, and they was coming all in our front, on our porch. We had to go in the house. And like I said, I don't even sit on the porch no more, because it's just not safe. And I have came around here, me and Miss Artist, talked to Mr. Blaine. We have called and we have talked to certain people, ain't nothing got done. I'm not out there to start no trouble. I'm just out there to try to be safe. And like I said, I love Westbury. I never had no problem with Westbury. But now it's a problem. And it just takes one bad apple to spoil the whole everything.
That's appreciated.
So I just want something to get done. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out here. Right.
I'm gonna pick it back off of what
Yes,
you
ma'am.
said.
If you could come out, you need to come up here, ma'am.
Okay.
Because we want to make sure your comments are heard by there's other people on the phone here too.
Oh, okay, all
Yes, ma'am.
right. Yes. Yes, I'm Miss Lolita Artist. I live at 1017 County Street. And, wanted to piggyback off of what Ms. Trotter said. And, I've got an issue with, we had, our landlord to come out and tell us, we had signs out in support of a councilman. And they said that we weren't allowed to have them. And I was wondering why not? And, yeah, they actually had to take the signs out of the ground. And,
No, no. Go ahead.
yeah,
Finish.
and I was just wondering what was the reasoning behind that? I mean,
She's asking for an explanation.
yeah, why we had
Yeah.
to take our signs out of the
Please.
ground? What reason?
I can answer
ahead.
that. Because there's a federal law that any property owned by a housing authority, public housing, cannot have political signs on it. That's a national policy that the government set.
Yeah, we had them every year though. This is just the first time that we heard about that.
But I'm just saying, that's the national policy. The HUD had that rule that you can't put political signs on any property owned, that's a public housing property. That's a federal requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, got nothing to do with the Portsmouth Housing Authority. We had to follow the federal requirement since our funds come from the federal government.
Can I add a little bit more clarification
I
to
think- I
that?
think
Well, let me
Mr. Bland-
please.
I think Mr. Bland has.
No, he hasn't, but I will.
You've got the law?
Ms. Artist, there is mixed use in Westbury. In other words, there are some privately held properties, homeowners,
Mhm.
individuals.
Mm-hmm,
My son lives in Westbury, but he owns his own home.
okay.
So therefore, he would be able
To
to
do-
have a sign. So where the confusion is probably coming in is there are those out there who are homeowners, privately
Mhm.
homeowners. They can have signs,
Yes, ma'am.
but if it's a property that is federally funded, subsidized,
Mhm.
then they come under the explanation that Mr. Bland was offering to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
That was,
Thank
okay.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Sir? Did you want to come up and make any comments, sir? You've got 5 minutes to make any comments? No, not at all. All right. Ma'am? Not at all. All right. Sir? No? Is there anybody else in the room?
Please.
Just allowed 5 minutes. There's some people on the phone. I would ask, is there anybody on the phone that would like to make any public comments? You're allowed 5 minutes. If you are, press *6 to unmute yourselves, and you've got 5 minutes to speak. All right, hearing none. Is there any other public speakers that are allowed 5 minutes to speak? Any other public speakers? All right. Again, Mr. Bland, you've got some, couple folks to get back with on specific items that we need to go with. Again, we meet again, our next meeting
Thank you for coming.
Our next meeting is going to be held at the Lexington Place Community Center there, so we can get all the commissioners on site there. And again, I'd appreciate any update that we have from there from you and the security force. All right, all right, all right. Any other alibis from the commissioners?
Oh, I have one thing. I just noticed that the National Night Out is Friday. Is there anything that we can do last minute at Fiddel's home? I'm willing to participate in.
It's the
I thought it's
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. I thought it was
Tomorrow.
Friday. I'm sorry.
No.
Is anything too last minute?
Well, only thing, I think we have reached, I believe, I can't speak for, I think, we have reached out to the resident and made them aware of it, I believe.
Okay. Because the city has the city's having a community event. And just so you know, a couple of things are happening at Dale Homes. There's a cookout. There's one of these nonprofits that's trying to help us is having a cookout at Dale Homes starting at 2 o'clock.
All
right, till 6.
3 to 7.
I'm sorry, 3 to 7, all right, and
It's
we're looking
today.
forward to their support.
Okay.
Mercy Drops, which is one of the volunteer agencies that provides food, is providing food on Wednesdays. And they do that on a regular basis out there at Dale Homes. And I just appreciate, again, Mr. Kenyon and your team for the diligence. But as if you could communicate with the police or the sheriff's office, if they'd like to come to our next meeting, we really would love to have them there. Yes, Councilman Barnes, yes, sir.
Vice Mayor Barnes.
Just a quick question,
Yes,
to
sir.
go with what Commissioner Cost was saying. In the future, can you guys actually, because one of the issues in the community is unity.
Yes, sir.
So it would actually be nice for the different neighborhoods to have a national night out. So is that something that you guys can look forward to in the future? I know it may be too late for tomorrow, but in the future, Swanson Home having theirs, or Dale's Home having theirs, Seaboard having theirs, Hamilton Place,
Yes, sir.
whatever the case.
We,
I know the city has it.
Yes, sir.
But each neighborhood
Each
still
neighborhood.
has their own community, because tomorrow is gonna be a lot of different neighborhoods that's actually having their own, national night out. So that's something that I don't think they ever had, and I would like to see that.
We
They had
lost
one the last year I was here. Year before last, we did do National Night Out, Seaboard, Swanson, one more, and Hamilton.
we lost a lot of traction during COVID. Each one of the housing areas had their own advisory board that did a lot of that stuff for us. And we're trying to get those advisory boards to meet again. In addition to the individual advisory boards, at each one of the complexes, we also have an overall resident advisory board, and they have not met since COVID went down. They told us that they're going to meet again in September. And that's one of those other ears that we need to have, because that's boots on the ground rather than us trying to guess what's happening. We encourage those residents to work with their advisory boards. That was one thing I wish I could have told the young lady from Westbury. I know Westbury has a very active community board. Again, they haven't met in a while, but we need these groups to start meeting again. so that, we can get more input. But, I appreciate the comments, sir. Yes, sir, all the, I know the city's got one, but I know a lot of the other communities have them too. All right, with that, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you.